Alright guys, so the focus of today's lesson is learning how to add positive and negative numbers. Yesterday we started our lesson on negative numbers and what they are, and I know we did some vocabulary work, but today we're actually going to put those words into action and use them to help solve equations. So while you guys were doing your do now, I made a chart of what I think I saw the most of that was on your lists of what you remember from yesterday, and I put it on our chart behind us because that information is going to be really important for today's lesson. So one thing I want to point out and make sure everybody remembers is that remembering what a negative number is. The negative number is going to be a real number that is less than 0, okay? So it's any number that's less than 0, as long as it's a real number. And we talked about real and imaginary yesterday, so you can always go back in your vocabulary folder and go and look at those if we don't remember, okay? Now we know what the negative, and we already knew what the positive was, but we're going to make sure that we keep this out to help us and make sure that when we're looking at our numbers, we can identify which one's the negative and which one's the positive. And we already know what sum is, but again, we're going to keep these out to remember what we're doing in today's lesson. So remember that the sum is the total amount of two or more numbers. So today we're going to use a positive and a negative, so our sum is going to be the two of these. Alright, so we're going to do an example together, and I know it's going to seem like a lot at first, but it's okay, we're going to figure it out. But first I want everyone to take out their multiplication table and the number line that I had on your desk. Make sure it's right on top, because both of these are going to help you with your counting when you're doing positive to negative or negative to positive. And you don't have to use both. I would prefer you guys use this, but it is okay if you use your multiplication chart to be able to count backwards or forwards, okay? So everybody make sure those are out on your desk. So I already had my number line printed up, or I wrote one out on the whiteboard for us. And I used the equation 3 plus negative 5 equals, and then the question mark, okay? Everybody see where we are? Okay, so we're going to make sure that we keep our colors the same to kind of help us out and make sure that we're staying on track and we're kind of keeping everything organized. So the first step that we're going to do when using a number line, we kind of already know how, but it's a little bit different because we've never had negatives before. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark where our 3 is going to be on our number line. So we can see that 1, 2, 3 on the positive side, that's where we're going to mark our little blue circle. Okay? Now it says that we're going negative 5. And which way was negative 5, guys? To the left or to the right? Right, to the left. It's going to come this way, right? So we are going to move 5 spots to the left because it's negative. Yep. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can everybody see where we landed? And everybody's got that on their charts? This is really important to follow along. Alright. So now we're going to take our red and we're going to mark where we landed. So it says we landed at negative 2 and we moved 5 to the left from positive 3. Alright, so our question mark, which is our sum, right, is going to be negative 2. Okay? Alright, so what we'll do now is we're going to write our anchor chart to make sure that we have it up, so anytime that we need to do an equation like this, we have something to work off of, okay? So let's take a minute and let's do that. Alright, so here's our anchor chart, and I am going to keep this around and I'll put it right behind us so that we can see it, and it's going to stay up during this entire lesson, and whenever we'll need it later we can always pull it back out because it's a good guide at what we have. But I also want you to keep our number line that we did this example on so you have something at home when you're doing homework to look off of. So I thought today would be a good day to play a game because I know we've kind of got a lot going on with all the different new terms and stuff, so we're going to try playing a game today that's doing what we did here, but it's just going to be a fun way to learn it. Alright guys, so like I said, we're going to play a game and it's called the integer game. Okay? So the point of this game is to get to 0 by adding positive and negative numbers. And remember, an integer was, right? Remember our card is an integer with any number that's not a fraction. So we're only going to be working with whole numbers, and it's only going to be from 0 to 10 and from 0 to negative 10. Okay? The point of the game is to try to get as many positive points as you're getting negative points to get back to 0. Okay, so what I'm first going to do is we're going to deal cards. Everybody gets 4 cards. Okay, so I'll deal out 4 cards. Now that everybody's got their cards, the rest are going to go in the middle as a draw pile, and you'll flip the first one over, kind of like in Uno, and you'll flip that first one over, and that'll be the draw card in case you have to, if you need to. And like I said, the rest of the cards are going to go in the pile to draw from if you wish. So we're going to do a practice round, and we can kind of see how it goes, and then I'll let you guys play together without me playing, and I'll just kind of be around to stand by and help you guys out. So I have a -1 and a 1, okay? So those already equal 0, right? And we can do that by using our number line, right? And we can see that if I had 1 -1, which minus would be moving to the left, right, we would end at 0. Good job. So for that, I'm already at 0. And then I also have a -8 and a 9. Now, do those two equal 0? No, and why not? Right, Ethan, good job. It's because if I started at 9 and I moved to the left 8, I would only be at 1. Okay? All right, good job, Ethan. So we're going to move over to Davon and see what Davon has. Now, Davon has a 6 and a -6, and do those equal 0? Good job, Davon. I like how you used your chart for that. So he did. So these two are going to equal 0. He also has a -6 and a +4. Now, do those two equal 0? No, and why not? Right. Because again, if you start on that 4 and you have to move to the left 6, you're going to end up on -2. Good job, Davon. All right, Ethan. So you have a 10 and a -10, and do those equal 0? Correct. Good job. Now, he also has a -6 and a 5. Now, do those two equal 0? No, and why not? Right. Right, because if we started off with that +5, again, and if we move to the left 6, we are going to end up at -1, and that's, right, 1 too far for 0. Good job. All right, so if you guys kind of understand how the game works, are we okay with that? And we're okay with directions? Okay, so we're going to redeal, and I'm going to let you guys play, and I'll just kind of watch over, and I want you guys to use either your multiplication chart. You can use that, or you can use this one. I think this one's going to benefit you guys the most, because this is what we've been doing work on. And remember, we have our anchor chart here, and I'll put this one up so you guys can see and kind of look at it, and you guys will be able to use this as a guide to help you when you're doing your counting and figuring out how far from 0 you are. Okay? Alright, guys. So it looks like Davon got to 0 first. Good job, Davon, because I saw you worked really hard and you used your number line to make sure that you were getting closer to 0. And Ethan, you were really close as well. So good job, guys. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have your guys' exit ticket. And it's pretty much the exact same thing that we did in the game today, except it's just on a number line like we've kind of been working with. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to solve the equations using your number line. And I want you to show your work. So I want you to show that first dot for your first number, how many jumps you had, and where you end up. And I want you to write that your question mark equals what? What is your sum? Okay, so you guys are going to have 15 minutes to do that. In order to get a 3, which is a proficient on your exit ticket, you need to get 3 out of 4 correct. Alright, so we worked really hard and we solved a few equations that involved positive and negative numbers. And we did it here on our number line, and we did it together. We built our anchor chart, and we did a game that involved the same thing, plus your exit ticket, just kind of different forms of doing the same thing. So tomorrow, we're going to use these same types of equations to help with our real world problems. Because yesterday we mentioned that we would use negative numbers with money, right? Money is something that we're all going to need. We're always going to need it, and we need to know how to use it. So tomorrow, we're going to work on some word problems that involve positive and negative numbers involving money and how much people would owe when they buy things. So on your way out the door today, I need you to hand in both your due now and your exit ticket to me, and you're going to pick up your homework from me. Now the homework, you guys get to be really creative. You get to make up your own equation, and you can pick whatever numbers. You can go bigger, smaller if you want on your number line. It doesn't have to just be the 10 and negative 10, but I need to see an equation, and I need to see the different colors that show how you solved for the sum, okay? So like we did here again, remember, I want to see these 3 different colors, and I want to know where you started and how you got to your sum and where you ended, and I want to see this sum, okay? This is going to be your entrance tickets into class tomorrow, so I really want to see this. All right, you guys have a good day. We'll see you later.